Alright, dude, so today let's talk about Peeping Tom, which is actually a first watch for me. I've seen Psycho so many times, and I've always heard that Peeping Tom was basically a similar equivalent to it because it came out in 1960, even though where I watched it said 1962. So I don't know if like it was delayed on release or it was released a little bit in 1960, but people say it's from 1960. But then I see online it says 1962, like an IMDb. So I don't understand that. But Peeping Tom, and also because of Scream 4, whenever I first watched Scream 4, like in 2011, I didn't know what Peeping Tom was until I mentioned that, because I wasn't fully into, like, horror. Like, I mean, I liked horror, like, big franchises in 2011, but I didn't really know anything about, like, smaller films like this. Or smaller films. You know what I mean? Films that aren't real, that are important, but aren't really talked about much, like Peeping Tom. And they had that joke, or that thing in Scream 4, where it's like the first POV movie of the killer is Peeping Tom. Now, for Peeping Tom, the plot, if you don't know it, is that there's this killer killing off these characters and filming his murders while doing it through his point of view of his camera. And honestly, that idea is really, it is effective and really works. And I do like that. And again, it is the first slasher film with the POV of the killer, apparently is what people always say, and Scream 4 said. I like really the fact that you get to immediately know who the killer is, because that makes, it's weird, because there's no mystery to this movie. It's like, there's this killer, and then you have these people go and talk to him, and then they get killed. And it actually works really well, because the guy who plays the killer is actually really scary and effective. He's the best part of this movie. He really works. This guy, he's not unsuspecting because you know he's the killer, but his performance is great. Like, this is a very great performance from this guy who plays the killer, and he is scary and effective, and he feels like a real psycho, and it actually scares me, just the thought of this guy. Like, he seems like a real character or a real person. And the movie, unlike Psycho for me, is kind of slow and of its time, with the opposite of Psycho, where Psycho, I think, no matter what, still holds up. I am interested throughout. Love Psycho, everything about it. Peeping Tom has some great things about it. Like I said, the killer, his performance, the scariness of, like, killing through his camera point of view, that is effective. But the movie, to me, is sometimes just kind of slow, or, like, it's not very interesting. Like, Psycho is interesting throughout, because you've got this main character, before she gets killed off, making a decision to run away, and is in fear and in suspense before even she encounters the hotel, or Norman Bates at the hotel. So, and in this one, it gets a little repetitive, where it's like he just keeps finding these girls and killing them, and it's fine, but it's just not as solid of an interest overall for me. Like, it's got, again, great things about it, and the plot is good for one of the first kind of types of this plot. But the characters are dated, and they kind of say lines that are dated, and you could argue Psycho has that too, but those characters in Psycho are way more interesting. And it has good things, it has great things about it, this movie. It has great things about it, and then it has okay things about it. I don't think this is the best horror movie ever, but it's got things that really would make people believe that. And I completely agree if people think this is one of the best horror movies. For me, I just watched this thinking it was good. It was a good, effective, well-made movie. It's just not my favorite horror movie. It's not as good as Psycho, in my opinion, but it is still a solid movie. Overall, I did enjoy Peeping Tom on first watch, so this was an interesting watch. I just don't feel the exact same way as a lot of people. So tell me down below what you guys think of Peeping Tom. Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with me? I want to have conversations with you guys. And if you like this, check down my links down below for Patreon, Twitter, and Letterboxd. And thank you guys again so much for watching.